Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I wanted to answer some of you guys' questions about how I started working in the substance abuse field. So I'm just gonna give you all an overview of my educational background, my work history, and then maybe add some tips at the end of the video about some things that you can be mindful of if you plan on going to the field. So let me first start off by saying, um, when going into any human services field, it's very important that you work for an employer that is supportive and understanding of just how tedious and how taxing working with the population can be. And it's not even from a standpoint of them being like challenging to work with. It's just mentally taxing when you are trying to make sure that people have their basic needs met, and that you're doing all that you can do to be supportive to these individuals. So that would be off the bat my first tip. Make sure that you do your research about different companies that you are interested in working with, and try to get a feel for their take on employee mental health, time off, that kind of thing. Make sure that you're working for somebody that is in full support of you taking off the time that you need to make sure that you stay healthy. So I went to undergrad in 2010 because while I was in high school, I was in what's called a dual enrollment program, which means that I was taking my high school courses in conjunction with some college courses. At the same time, I graduated high school with an advanced diploma and an associate's degree from our local community college. So right off the bat, that kind of put me ahead of the curve in terms of going into college as a sophomore. It seemed like the best thing in the world at first because, of course, I got to go into sophomore housing. I didn't have to go into the freshman dorms, which everybody dreaded going into. So it had some perks. But as I continued in my education, I realized that by the time I was ready to graduate, I didn't feel like I had gotten the full college experience, nor that I know what it is I wanted to do. So I ended up staying an extra year undergrad, just because I wasn't ready to graduate. So my undergraduate degree is in psychology. I did a video maybe a year or so ago about how my choice in my undergrad is really my only regret this far in life. And so if you want to know more about that, check that video out. I'll put the link in the bio of this video, or either I'll put it as like a screen up, or either I put it up in the corner so that you can click on it at the end of this video. And although I had a positive college experience, I had fun while I was there, I don't feel like my college choice was the best choice in terms of like the cultural experience that I could have gotten if I went to an HBCU. Now that I know more so about the historical context of why HBCUs are so important and so prominent, and my culture is definitely an experience that I wish I would have taken advantage of. But we make choices based on the information that we have available to us at that time, and everything happens for a reason. So moving past that, so while I was in college for my undergraduate degree, of course I had to do an internship. I did my internship at our local community service board, and I was working under the nurse practitioner there, the psychiatric nurse practitioner there. She was a gem to work with. I really enjoyed my experience with her. While working with her, I would sit in when she did her her general checkups with patients for their psychiatric medications, and I will also sit in when she did initial assessments to like kind of assess people, diagnose them with whatever mental health condition they were experiencing, and then going forward she would manage their medication. So I also got to go on some of the house calls with the case managers that worked there. I built some relationships with people that ended up being my coworkers after graduation. I feel like in hindsight, that was a really good introduction to the field. And the reason I say in hindsight, coming out of college, I was like, I'm applying to all of these places for potential jobs, but I know why I'm not going to work. And I was not thrilled about working for the Community Services Board just because I didn't really understand the concept of walking in purpose at the time. And so I was looking for this elaborate job that was going to feel like I was just going to be thrilled to do, and which I ended up really enjoying that job once I got the job. But initially it wasn't something that I was interested in doing. So I was applying to all of these jobs, and I believe one of my big sisters from my sorority, Karima, she was working at the community service board at the time, and she texted me. She was like, hey, we're hiring, let me know if you're interested, I'll put in a good word. So at that point, I had been applying to places, wasn't really getting calls back. So I applied and I got the job. So I graduated undergrad in May 2013. I got that position October 2013, and I stayed there for almost 3 years. And so my position there was a co-occurring case manager for individuals with mental health and substance use disorders. And that was a really dope job. Like I said, I met some amazing people that I still stay in contact with to this day. I had an agency car. I was managing, or I was over 7 counties. So pretty much a lot of my time was spent doing house visits and, engaging with people in their environments. And I feel like it really gave me the opportunity to see just how much of an impact substance use has on like different areas of their lives. A lot of times we take things for face value when they're coming into the office and present in a certain way, but when you really get your feet wet in the field and are able to go into their environments and see how they function with their families and, just how they're living, it brings a different kind of awareness to the situation. So in addition to doing the house visits, I will go with them to certain doctor's appointments. I will go with them to see their probation officers. I did a lot of coordination with other people in the community, that they were also mutual patients of, or either they had some kind of engagement with at the time. And I really built a lot of positive relationships within the community, as well as just learning, improving my communication skills. So I left that job and I got a job at a university slash hospital. So I was actually employed by the university, but I was under a program that was in the hospital. So in that role, I was also a case manager, but it was clinic-based, and I was working with individuals who had been diagnosed with different infectious diseases, mainly HIV and AIDS, and I just helped manage their day-to-day functioning as well. Linking them with certain resources in the community, making sure that I educated them on their diagnosis and providing them with resources to make sure that they were not, spreading the virus, making sure that they attended their medication appointments within our clinic with our providers, coordinating with the doctors that were working closely on their cases. And I was there for about 2 years as well. I was also working with individuals who had mental health and substance use diagnoses. Not as directly as I was in my previous job, but it was still a factor, of course, in a lot of the individuals that were coming in and who were patients of the clinic. So after I left there, I landed the job that I have now. So currently I work at a methadone clinic as a counselor, and methadone, like I said before, is an agent used to manage withdrawal symptoms for individuals who are trying to abstain from opiate use. And I must say, out of the 3 jobs that I have, this is probably, if not my favorite, definitely my second favorite job. I love interacting with patients. I love just building relationships and seeing those small wins. So I skipped over a whole aspect of my educational history. So while I was at my first job, I went back to school and I got my first master's degree. And that was just a human services degree with a focus on addiction and recovery. In hindsight, I definitely wish that I would have taken the licensure route, which is what I'm back in school for now. But of course, at that age, I was just more so concerned about having a master's degree, really not understanding that I need to be more specific in my choosing to set me up to, be able to get better jobs based on having a license. That is one tip that I would definitely say. If you are going to be in the human services field, make sure you get licensed, whether it be LPC, licensed professional counselor, LCSW, licensed clinical social worker, whether you want to get a PsyD, a doctorate in psychology, or a PhD, which is what does PhD stand for? Doctor of Philosophy. Dang. Something like get licensed, get some credentials behind your name, because I'm seeing more and more that that is like, whereas getting a master's degree was kind of like, oh, she got her master's, it's now kind of the requirement for a lot of the positions that pay, you know, have better paying opportunities. In addition to that, look into different certifications that you can get that are specific to the field. QMHPA, QMHPC, which is a qualified mental health professional, adult versus child. So that's the difference between A and C. CSAC, certified substance abuse counselor. If you don't have all of the if you don't have all of the requirements to become a CSAC, see if you can become a CSAC A, which is like the assistant to the certified substance abuse counselor, and you can do supervision and stuff and get that. There are a lot of different things that you can look into in terms of credentialing, and that will help set you apart in the field. So that's definitely something, definitely coming out the gate, something that I would advise. Also look into different organizations specific to your interest in the field, and get involved in those organizations just to use it as a point of reference in terms of different research that comes out and improvements in treatment, that kind of thing. And also getting a mentor, having somebody that you can check in with as needed to bounce ideas off of, to talk about difficult or challenging cases, to get, you know, their clinical judgment compared to your clinical judgment, come up with a decision that's clinically sound for the patient's needs, that kind of thing. Where was I at? I went off on a tangent, y'all. So that's kind of been my journey through like school and employment. My goal now is, like I said, I'm back in school to become licensed as a therapist. That's really the aspect of all of my jobs that I've enjoyed the most. The relationship building, really talking to people, understanding their story, and then based on, you know, meeting them where they are and coming up with a plan for them to do something different. So that is definitely something I'm passionate about. It's something that I take pride in, and my motto is changing the trajectory of future generations. Just realizing that the things that we do today, the changes that we make today, not only within ourselves, but the changes that we can help other people make, will impact the future generation, and it'll impact, you know, the world that our kids and our grandkids live in. So that is something that I am extremely passionate about. I feel like it was something, so when I worked at my first job, the Community Service Board, I did groups. One of the groups that I did was the Seek and Safety group, which is a men's group, and I was the co-facilitator of that group, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoy working with the male population, you know, just seeing how the male presence is so needed in households, and, well, I should say the healed male presence. So a man that is emotionally stable and intact with his emotions, able to communicate effectively, that kind of thing. Just seeing how necessary that is for a family to be able to thrive. That's something that I'm extremely passionate about. I actually want to be a marriage and family therapist. I'm passionate about seeing families thrive and grow from otherwise challenging situations. So that is a little bit about my educational and my work history. If you all have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll answer as best as I can. I would say just, you know, especially starting out young, just try different things. We sometimes go into employment or go into our careers feeling like we have to commit to one job for an extended amount of time, and that's really not the case now. Like, people are really committed to finding what it is that they enjoy, what it is they feel passionate about, and that's extremely important. So, you know, feel your way around. If you get to a job and you don't like it, start making your exit plan. Meaning, you know, if you feel like it's a skill set that job offers, something that will help you grow as a professional, say, hey, I'm here for 6 months to a year, and really give it your all. Really take from it what you can, and then find somewhere else to go. And, you know, just feel and just be unapologetic about that. Like, this is your life. This is something that you have to enjoy doing for the rest of your life, or for however long you plan to be in the working world. So really make sure you're doing something that you enjoy. Like I said, coming into the field, I was not excited about working at the Community Service Board, but it ended up being one of the best experiences of my life in terms of my work history. And I worked retail in between, like, some of my positions, but I'm not really a retail kind of girl. I think I might do better with it now that I'm more of an extrovert, and that I don't mind interacting with people as much, but I'm not a retail kind of girl. I don't think that's for me. That ain't my ministry. Oh, I left out a job. I did do part-time. I worked intensive in-home as an intensive in-home counselor part-time. I really enjoyed doing it. The little kid that I work with he really got to me. He was such a sweetheart. And I really enjoyed, like, I used to take him to Chuck E. Cheese to work on his social skills and that kind of thing. And even though we were being productive and working, you know, on our goals, just introducing him to things that he wouldn't otherwise have experienced, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Did I work anywhere else? And I'm just giving y'all my jobs, like, since I graduated college. Like, I was a nurse in high school. That was another benefit of being in the dual enrollment class. I took my CNA test in high school and became a CNA in high school, and I worked at a nursing home for a while, but that wasn't my ministry either. Just get your feet wet, see what it is you like, see what you like and dislike about each position that you go into, and just go from there. Find your niche and build upon that. Like I said, if you have any questions, drop it in the comments. If not, I'll talk to y'all in another video.